recap. After tensions boiled over on Monday night's episode between House 4 usurpers Amy and Stu and the reluctant House 1 inhabitants Claire and Agni, emotions were still running high as Tuesday morning dawned. News of a surprise visitor had Amy hoping it might be their 12-year-old daughter, and tears flowed when she discovered it wasn't. For his part, Stu admitted that he was missing the beers he might have been able to have had they still been in Gisborne, however. In this most technical of weeks, bathroom week, when the tension between ambition and execution had the potential to be at its most extreme, the pair quickly realized they needed to focus to make up for the time they lost on the previous day's feuding. Making the most of Stu's plumbing knowledge, they quickly established a plan involving textured tiles, natural light and wooden vanity and shelves, as well as custom-made shower. However, while Stu fired off orders, like a tradie at AMCC, a simile surely that has to go down as one of the worst product placement segues in block history, Amy discovered the delights of dealing with Auckland courier companies. Over at the boys' place, Ben and Tom's day just went from bad to worse. After ignoring expert advice that their proposed tiles would turn their bathroom into a dark dungeon, they then discovered late afternoon that the ones they had chosen were too heavy for the bathroom floor. Meanwhile, Claire and Agni were seemingly trying to set the record for the number of recessed shelves in a bathroom and appeared to make a crucial mistake with regards to their tile choice. As for CHLO and M, they also had a shelf obsession, but got distracted by the prospect of visiting the hardware store with builder James and showed perhaps a little too much excitement at the prospect of showing off both their tool belts and power tool prowess. However, as the day wound down, Ben and Tom pulled out a surprise move, calling the others together for the first meeting of the Block Collective. Frustrated with the amount of downtime this week, architectural graduate Ben was keen to push ahead with some structural wall changes which would affect the kitchen and downstairs area. But in order to be allowed to bend the strict block rules, he and Tom needed the unanimous approval of the other teams. It was a request granted, although it came with a warning from Stu: next time, we could do with a cheese platter. Little did he know that the boys had actually planned more than a little lights-up that evening, but only for the girls. After praising them for being nice and fun and keep it fresh, Tom wasn't quite prepared for just how fresh Em would get. When he mentioned that he'd like a present for his birthday, Em's reply that, "Oh yeah, you'll be getting more than a present," not only shocked the boys but also sent CHLO into a choking fit. As her life flashed before my eyes, and Ben struggled to remember his training, she eventually regained her composure. That didn't stop Ben from claiming that he'd saved her life though. "I licked her," he boasted. On to Make or Break Wednesday, and, as expected, any plans had to be cast aside by the arrival of the next challenge. Mark Richardson was waiting for them by a lakeside location, already armed with bad gags about plain sailing, and promising it will be challenge that will float their boat. The contestants had an hour to build a boat for two out of an assortment of materials. Then, they would have to race them along a 100 meters course, with the winner receiving $5,000 worth of New Zealand artworks. Any hopes the former Black Caps opener had of something Team NZ would be proud of were dashed early on by a CHLO and M question, "What's a mainsail?" and a general lack of three-dimensional thinking. With a torrential downpour arriving right on race time, it was no surprise that the girls did their best Titanic impersonation fairly early on. In the end, it became more of a paddling competition, with Ben and Tom's pillow ladder just pipping Amy and Stu's paddleboard. "Well, we've lost another one, but at least we've got 10 more weeks of challenges," Em said, with just a hint of cynicism and weariness in her voice. There was then just time for the teams to head back to the houses, for Amy to still be waiting on her shower unit and for Ben and Tom to discover that their Tyler was going to be no-show at the time they desperately needed him. Cue the Wednesday night preview, promising desperate measures, dismissals and an M-inspired disaster, stuffed promoted stories recommended by